Salatea. Hello, family. Today we'll be discussing the endocrine system. I'm going to touch on the pineal gland. We're going to look at some arteries and blood, referring to the circulation of the brain. I'm going to check out the adrenal glands, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, and the thyroid and parathyroid glands. Now, right now, this is very important, because I know many people where I work at my daytime job at the moment as an herbalist, that the thyroid seems to be big in women. The issue with women's thyroid is big right now as far as the percentage rates of the people that have it. And I'll discuss some things that are going to be causing that, and then some herbs and stuff like sea moss that you could use to help feed the thyroid if iodine is something that you're lacking. Now, to begin here, what you have here we were talking about with the intro is the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is responsible for regulating the circadian rhythm, the sleep-wake cycle, and it also modulates reproductive function by inhibiting GnRH and acts as an antioxidant and immune modulator. The pineal gland is the gland. It works like an antenna, within the brain. And what it does is picks up information and decodes it. So it takes it in as you walk through your environment, trying to figure out, as a human being, what you need to do to build up yourself for your future is what it's trying to do. And the foods and the lifestyles, the foods and the lifestyle that you're portraying as a human being is very life-changing when you take this gland seriously. The foods that you feed the whole body helps this gland, and this gland is important in many ways. It's going to help the way that you sleep, the way that you rise in the AM, and it's also going to help with the dreams and visions and things that we have, that we, as believers of Scripture, are trying to receive messages from Yahweh or Yahuwah. And the diet that I follow, or the lifestyle that I follow, is a kosher lifestyle out of Leviticus, the dietary laws. And this is something that I got into for that reason. The pineal gland, you see everybody in other cultures talk about the third eye. Now that term isn't necessarily used in Scripture, but it's definitely designed by the Creator for a reason. And if you're not feeding your body the necessary fuel, you're not going to sleep, you're not going to get up correctly, and you're also not going to be able to portray yourself or understand the things in life correctly. And foods that feed this gland are things that are high in melanin, which is carbon, which is sugar. Your natural fruits and vegetables, fruits especially that are darker in color, the berries and stuff like that. You hear people say the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And the reason is because that sugar feeds the brain. And the pineal gland breaks this down and utilizes this to understand and decode information outside of you. And this pineal gland also plays a huge role in the pituitary gland. Now, what you have with the pituitary gland is this whole area here is both your hypothalamus and your pituitary. Now, the pituitary gland plays a big role in emotion and the way that you perceive things emotionally. Now, the pituitary gland always plays a role in the thyroid. This is one of your master glands, so that you know that if you're having a thyroid issue, it also ties into the pituitary gland. And another thing, the pineal gland is it also is responsible for your, like we said, the melatonin. The pituitary gland also plays a role in the serotonin, which is responsible for your AM production, right? The productivity. And serotonin, a lot of it is held in the stomach. And it has to do with your diet, like we talked about, the kosher diet lifestyle. So the more serotonin that you're producing in the body, the more confident you become, and the more people tend to want to come to you and talk to you and discuss ideas. That's what makes us, I guess you could say, a better human being, because that production is everything for you to understand why these glands are working or they aren't working. Now, with the pituitary gland here, we have some things also that the hypothalamus plays a role in this as well, because it regulates secretion of anterior pituitary hormones and synthesizes oxytocin. Oxytocin is responsible, it's your love chemical, okay? So there's an old trick that every day you need to get your daily dose. Scripture provides all of this. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Daily dose, remember this. So your oxytocin, love chemical plays a big responsibility here in the pituitary gland on the rest of the body. Because if you're not being loved correctly or you're not loving others correctly, this master gland is going to throw off the whole body. And you can't love, if you can't love correctly, then how do you expect to decode information and understand your dreams and visions that are being given to you? So, to move on here, the thyroid, and like we were talking about, the pituitary gland plays a huge responsibility, plays a crucial role in helping the thyroid gland. The thyroid, it stimulates production and secretion of thyroid hormones, and then you've also got parts of the thyroid like the parathyroid. People can have hyperthyroid, and right now on TikTok and everywhere else, social media platforms, CMOS is being talked about to feed the thyroid, because you're feeding the body what it needs, part of the earth, the ocean. You're loving yourself by providing the body with the proper nutrients that it needs to function. And that's why CMOS helps so much, because it's got 92 minerals. Some some CMOSs even have 99 minerals, depending on the source. Yaquis, I believe, has 99. And that's somebody I've talked about in my introduction. Check out Yaqui. Now, these minerals that are feeding this thyroid will help the pituitary. The pituitary gland is going to play a crucial role in your emotions. When you have that functioning, and you got the pineal gland functioning, so you can decode and synthesize information to be a better individual to help feed your community and your society. So, the thyroid, there's a lot of things that can be causing this problem, and thyroid problems lead to depression. And I've witnessed it many times myself at jobs that I've worked in and people that I've worked around. And to fix thyroid problems, because you definitely want this functioning, and also if you're into the meridian lines, the throat chakra has to do with the thyroid, which is the way that you speak. Now, I don't use chakras as in Hinduism. It's not a spiritual practice. It's more of a science when it comes to the way I speak about them. And the thyroid, the thyroid plays a role in the way that you speak and talk to others. And that's why it ties into the pituitary gland and your emotions. So the foods, high antioxidants like berries and things like that, they're important to consume. And if you're having a problem, you want to get this thyroid under control, you need to go on an all-fruit diet for 30 days. You need to get your minerals in like sea moss. You need to take the herbs that's responsible, depending on what type of thyroid issue that you got going on, because there is more than one issue there. Depending on the issue that you're having with the thyroid, there's going to be different herbs that you need to consume. So when you find out, say from your doctor or however you get your testing done, when you find out what the thyroid issue is, always use the correct herbs that are natural to replace those prescriptions, so you're not taking something that's a band-aid for the problem. So you definitely have a huge opportunity to get this thyroid under control. And going from here, from the thyroid to the adrenal glands. Now you see, so you see here on the endocrine system that all of this plays a key role also in helping the adrenal glands function properly. And right here sits the kidneys, and on top of it sits the adrenal glands. Now you see here's the liver, you've got the kidneys down here, and the adrenals will sit right on top of it. And with the adrenal glands, they're responsible for your stress. So when you get into a stressful situation, the adrenal glands push too much cortisol into the body. When there's too much cortisol in the body, it tends to want to shut down, and then you get aggravated and you get into fight or flight mode, and the amygdala takes over to where every time you see somebody or feel somebody in your presence, you feel like you're in defense mode. And that's because your adrenals are shot. So you've got herbs like ashwagandha, DGL, licorice. Yaqui talks about this a lot. I keep shouting out Yaqui because hopefully he tries to give me a job opportunity. I've sent him emails 1,000 times. But the adrenal glands, licorice is something Yaqui talks about that'll get this back online so the rest of the body can filter out the toxins that are being consumed. And what you want to do to flush this out is 30-day fruit fast as well. Fruit juices, flush all the toxins and parasites out of the body. They're causing these issues. And you'll see here that the adrenal glands play a crucial role in making the stomach work properly. It helps in the intestines, and also is going to help digest your food and break down your carbs, fats, and proteins. And I say proteins as in amino acids. You'll see Yaqui talks about amino acids. All proteins come from amino acids, which are found in your plants, your fruits and vegetables. So when you have these adrenal glands working correctly, the stomach's going to do what it needs to do. Then you're going to have the thyroid work like it's supposed to, feeding it the minerals that it needs. The pineal gland is going to work correctly, so you can have your intuitive vision and understand your dreams and decisions that you want to make as an individual. And you'll see that the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland will work and coincide with all these different glands and organs. Now, another thing that we'll touch here on these last couple of things here, and then I'm going to share some herbs that you can use for different parts of the body that we've talked on today. So the pancreas here is something that you see people with diabetes having a problem breaking down the foods that they consume. And the reason why is there is a fluke worm, Yaqui talks about this too, that gets into the pancreas and gnaws on the pancreas and gives people that are diabetic the problem. And no kidding, they tell you that it's sugar. Now sugar does play a crucial role in giving you diabetes, but I guarantee you 100% that the reason you have diabetes is because of proteins that you're consuming that come from animals. So stop consuming them, period. So if you want to flush this out, this fluke worm, that also is a type of parasite. There's another one that gets up into the brain and gnaws on a part of the brain that causes schizophrenia. You can also flush that out as well. You see that Yaqui has done this and has 6,300 cases of reversing several things, as far as also 10 people with cancer a month. So you know what he's doing is working, and I've learned a lot from him, and I'm very thankful. But the pancreas here, you can flush that parasite out. Now you start to see the reason all these glands are having issues is because they all have to work together. Yahweh or Yahuwah, he made this incredible machine, and he's the one that tied it all in together. And these are the wires like a computer. You got a motherboard, a chip. You've got all of these things designed just like a computer. And you also have a mouse which takes you in the direction that you need to go, which is your mind or your hands, the way that you perceive reality. Now you can't perceive reality correctly if you're not taking care of these organs and giving the proper nutrition to all of the parts of the body. Now, back to the pancreas. If you flush out this fluke worm, 100% you'll get rid of diabetes. And the reason I say this is because this isn't functioning to break down the sugars and stuff that you need to fuel the brain. The brain works off of carbon, which is melanin, which is just sugar. You do need carbs, but you need good carbs that the body can break down that are found in your fruits. So consuming fruits in a 30-day fruit fast, especially with the herbs that you need, like graviola, which is soursop, that helps treat diabetes. You've also got, there is another one that I'll have to remember the name here later on, but there's a bunch of herbs, but graviola would be the good one. Lion's mane helps control the blood sugar. And you also do have, there is a sugar reg formula by Nature's Sunshine. They've been around for a long time. They've got good products. And that's going to help feed the different organs to help this pancreas get back online. Now, here on this side, you'll see the gonads, which is part of the male productive or reproductive system. Okay, then you also have the women's reproductive system. Now, when all of these organs are working correctly, and this is where you see people talking about chakras and stuff like that, because it all starts here in the male and female sexual reproductive organs. Because if you're not eating correctly and you screw this up, you're definitely going to mess up the whole rest of the body, and you're going to ruin the fertility to carry on your next generation. So if you take care of all these organs of your body, especially the testes and the vagina, and keep these things filled with good bacterias, helping the gut to work correctly, that's your fruits and vegetables and things that you need to get in and consume, that's going to help all of this work together. So when you take care of these organs, you'll see in men higher testosterone levels. You'll see in women their moods will be stabilized. They also won't have as many hormone problems. Now, Dr. Sebi talked about, and this is something you can research yourself, he talked to some women in Honduras and found out that putting them on the diet that he would talk about, the lifestyle that he would discuss, actually caused them to have a period once every 5 years. Now that seems a little extreme, and maybe 5 years is a long time to have a period, but still, if it even was every 6 months, to see that kind of change because of just the food that you're consuming and putting the proper nutrition into your body shows you how crucial it is. We've been designed a certain way for a reason. And all of these glands work because it's how Yahweh or Yahuwah put us together. We're literally meshed together with flesh, bone, and rayach, or ruach, or spirit. Okay, we are meshed together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And this thing has been made for a reason. And there's ways to help us understand who we are by taking care of the things that are within us. Because you have ancestral curses that can be passed on to you, and you have to break those curses as I've broken mine. And you have to do your adrenal glands. Yaki talks about this, that the adrenal glands actually help with the kidneys, and they store ancestral curses. So they hold memories. People that are in the military that have PTSD, these memories can be stored here. And no kidding, if you know what you're doing and you know the proper belief systems that you need to have, you can flush out memories, because the body doesn't know the difference. When you get control of it, you're the one that runs the machine. But you have to know the owner's manual, and that's what the Sefer or the Sefer is. And if you're not reading your owner's manual, how do you ever expect to make it and be successful in this life? So, again with the gonads here, let me move over to this side. You do have different parts of the brain, the medulla, and things that play a role in here. And you've got the different ovaries. You've got ovaries and organs, ovaries and other things that are also important in here that play a role in estrogen, things in the gonads that are important for the testosterone. And you'll see mucus builds up here in the penis itself. And what you could do to drain that is a 30-day fruit fast, fruits and vegetables if you want to do those in liquid form, and definitely go on a solid food vacation. So in here, you can actually flush out the mucus, called STDs and herpes and stuff like that, can be flushed out and drained from the penis if you actually go on a solid food vacation, take the proper herbs, and get that out of there so that you can get back to a stabilized regular lifestyle. And that starts with all of this. So that plays a crucial role in everything that you do in your life, and understanding the foods and the techniques that you have to be able to further progress, not only for your household, but for the people around you. And the more that we start to understand that we've got to step up for ourselves, because the doctors clearly aren't taking care of people. There's a few that do their job, but there's also a big chunk of them that are not doing their job correctly. When they start pulling out organs and ripping out things that they weren't never meant to take out, like bypass surgeries, there's other ways to do these things. And that's why you have people like Yaki and Dr. Sebi and talking about sea moss and graviola and moringa and these things that need to be consumed to fix these issues. We're all made from the dust of the earth, and Yahusha or Yahusha was ruddy, like the color of the earth, Adam and Chaya or Hua, understood when they were in the Garden of Eden, there was foods that they could consume, but the tree of knowledge and good and evil, there was meta food that they would consume. They would give them knowledge to activate consciousness, and now they had to understand that they were completely responsible for their own life. They had to toil from the ground, and they had to work to get their food because they disobeyed, and now they had to learn to be on their own to once again be reunited with the Father that sent Yahusha. And when we understand how important this is, and these dietary laws that I discuss out of Leviticus, these things are taught to us for a reason. It's not to be beaten down and treated like robots. It's the fact that these foods that we are consuming nowadays are killing us. Pork and beef and stuff like that. Now, I do know that the dietary laws do allow some meat. But I just had an idea today that if the new Yerushalayim or the new Jerusalem is coming down to make the new heaven on earth, I thought, well, if you see people building up farms and getting ready and growing their own food and herbs, I thought, well, maybe the earth is being prepped for the new Yerushalayim to come down. I talked to a friend about it, and he said, that's exactly what's happening. I said, that's why we observe these feasts as Nazarium. That's why we observe these Moedim. And that's why we understand that these feasts play a crucial role in not only understanding the things to come, but they also play a role in our human anatomy and the things that we need to do as beings of light. The more that you understand that the activities and the things that you do talking to people, if you think about these little bite-sized information light balls and you're going around trying to consume them like you would in a video game, the things that you do by treating people correctly, the things that you do by treating yourself correctly, imagine you're eating those light balls, and then as you go through this life, you're trying to consume as many light balls as you can so you can explode into rainbow colors like Hanak or Enoch did, right? You've got these stories of these guys turning into light, and that's what we're shooting for. That's the whole thing you see in scripture and people talking about the chakras. They all come from the same place. You got the meridian lines, yes, that play a role in science and anatomy and things like this, but also you have to understand that they have to play a role in your food. The more colorful your plate is, the better you'll feel. And that's why we have so many different colored fruits and vegetables, because the more you consume, the better that you are. And every single thing that you eat does something for the body. And that's called, I believe, food signature. And it's where you see a carrot and it looks like your eye, and a walnut looks like the brain. And you have eggplants that look like the penis, and you have, testes that look like things that you have to consume for the testes. Things that you need to consume that that are good for the woman's vagina. There's things that are regulating the hormones. These foods that we have are medicine. In Ecclesiasticus, I don't remember the chapter and verse, but it does say that food is our medicine and herbs is for healing. And so does Genesis 1:29 or Bereshitaya or Bereshit. It tells you that that is our food, and that every fruit and herb yielding seed shall be for food for you and the animals. And now you understand why. So to finish up and wrap this up here, we're going to touch on the herbs and stuff that you could use and the foods that you consume to help these things function correctly. So the pineal gland, you definitely want to do melanated foods, right? Darker colored foods. You also have like your purple colored foods like eggplants, and you have your berries and your grapes and stuff like that that you can consume that are purple. Because people talk about the purple chakra, which is really the place that needs purple foods or purple things. Like these are the things, the ideas that give you color of purple. I'm actually about to start working on a book that's going to be called The Epiphany of Color, and it'll touch on this topic of consciousness. And you have to consume foods that are feeding the pineal gland, because you can tell the foods are working by the way that you feel and the things that you're able to break down and consume. You've got choline. Choline's a really good natural vitamin that you can take that actually helps the production in the brain and helps you to better understand and synthesize information to better grow in your education. That rhymed, but I didn't mean to do that. So that's something for the pineal gland. Is you got stuff like that. Then you've also got like CBD and I'm not your judge, but in the past, I do know people are getting into medicinal mushrooms, and yes, they do play a crucial role in the pineal gland, but do it with safety and do it by somebody that's administered to do it. They are allowing doctors to do the microdosing. So if you're going to do that, please stay off the streets and go to a facility where they actually are taught and educated on how to use that correctly. But also choose the people that you go to wisely. You don't want to get any research chemicals and stuff like that. I've been down that road and it's not fun. So definitely that's something that's talked about. It's the reason I brought it up. Cannabosum, which is cannabis in scripture, is used for medicine that will help with the pineal gland. And Bob Marley did say that to him, cannabis revealed to you who you were, the true you. And you'll start to see that when people have those episodes of anxiety and things like that, that's because the pineal gland is showing you the things that you're dealing with that you need to get rid of. That's why people get so upset and distraught, because in the society that we live in today, if you don't deal with those emotions, they get brought up and they can be hard, very hard to unravel, and that's called shadow work. If you want to know what shadow work is, go read Carl Jung. Mike Rashid's been talking about it. 19 Keys has been talking about it on YouTube. So check that out. And the things that you listen to, the things that you watch also help feed this, I don't know a better word, but at the moment, spiritually, I say that just because my research, I found it to be a Babylonian word, so I use ruach or ryach, but to use like the word spiritually, watch what you eat, consume, listen to, read things that are, feeding you the same way that your food would feed you. Your books and your music should have nutrition. That's pretty good. I should get that on a shirt. But the pituitary gland, these foods are also regulated with foods that make your body feel good. Fruits, vegetables, things high in minerals, things like that. They're going to help stabilize the emotions. If you eat it and you feel groggy and aggressive afterwards, then you probably need to know, you probably need to back off the foods that are causing those problems. Now, with the pituitary tying into the thyroid, this is minerals and so is the thyroid. So there's something that's being lacked there. So you need to do some cleansing, and then you also need to do some sea moss. You've got things like bladderwrack and burdock that are high in minerals as well. Spirulina is a here or there type algae to look into, and chlorella. There's a lot of research out there. Then you've got your exotic fruits like soursop and dragon fruits and things that are high in hydrating. To feed that thyroid, especially going through a fruit cleanse, fruit juices and stuff like that, containing those exotic fruits. If you go check out Miami Fruit on Instagram, they do have an exotic fruit farm that would really help you when you're doing a fruit 30-day fast or fruit juicing. And then we talked roughly on the circulation of the brain. Honestly, I really didn't get into it. But you need circulation for the brain, especially if you're wanting to study harder, learn more, develop and become smarter. And ginkgo biloba is a good circulatory. Dr. Amen talks about that. Then you've got lion's mane, which repairs the myelin sheath of the nervous system. So it's the rubber on the outside of the wires that are running through. And when the rubber is frayed, you can't get complete conductivity through the wires like you need. The electricity is not running correctly. So the lion's mane mushroom repairs that rubber around it so that it can work and fire off, and the synapses are working correctly in the brain, and you have the rebuilding of neuronal cells, which is your brain cells. So ginkgo biloba, like I said, lion's mane. There's a couple of reishi is a good mushroom. You've got things that are good for the respiratory type of mushrooms would be good as well. And they've got combos from Host to Fence. You've got some other brands that have been out there lately. And then the adrenals we talked about. The adrenal gland, we talked about DGL and flushing it and doing the fruit fast with fruit juices. And then L-theanine is calming on the mind. So if you can get that stress under control, it's an amino acid from green tea. So when you can get that under control, you can get these adrenals to calm down and quit pushing so much cortisol into the body. There's also ashwagandha is a good one as well. It's good for the adrenal glands, get those back on track. Teas are good. Yaqui usually recommends tea. If you do peels and stuff like that of these herbs I'm mentioning, Nature's Sunshine, Solar Ray is good. You got Terry Naturally, that's good. Giving these guys a shout out, so whoever hears me, if they want to tag somebody they know that's with the company or whatever, I do work currently at a health stop where we carry those products that help the blood flow and the circulation here in the brain. And yes, I'm wearing a Host Defense mushroom t-shirt, so that is something that you could also check out. And they've also got a documentary on Netflix called Fantastic Fungi. Paul Stamets, the owner, is on there talking about lion's mane, turkey tail, and things like that. Now, pancreas, we discussed that, the graviola, to feed that and help that out there. Then you've also got things like bitter melon. Bitter melon's a good one. That's the one I was trying to remember earlier. My brain was like, yes, we're going to do this. So we figured that out together. And then the testes, like I said, eggplants are something that you could consume. You got Chinese silkworm that people are using for sexual activity. You also have things like Tongat alley. Sea moss is good. That's good for the libido. Ashwagandha, there's a lot of studies about ashwagandha helping with libido endurance right now. And then you've also got things like Damiana that's good for male or female. You've got some people like fish oil. I'm not big on fish oil, but definitely your omegas, you can get it from algae. Nordic Naturals carries in algae, EPA, DHA that I take, and my levels have been pretty clean so far. Haven't had any problems. But that's something that you definitely want to take. Calcium, magnesium is a good muscle relaxer. Solar Ray, Nature's Sunshine has those, and a good multivitamin, of course, because most people aren't consuming the right amount of foods that they think they're consuming. And putting those minerals back into the body for the multivitamin and minerals, which is multi-vital minerals. Putting those back in, you've got sea moss, you've got things like Source of Life, which they have a gold formula that's gummies that's real good. Nature's Sunshine, again, has multivitamins. You've got Garden of Life, people like. You've got Pure Essence. I've used their One and Daily for Men. It's got some testosterone building herbs in there, cofactors that are helpful. But those are things that you can use for all these. And since we've got the heart here, you do have things like French grape seed that'll help the plaque build up with the arteries. And then here in the liver, you definitely want to check out milk thistle and help cleanse those there. For the vagina, Nature's Sunshine does carry Female Comfort, which is good for stabilizing the hormones, and we sell the dickens out of those at work. So if you want to check that out, that's something that helps balance those hormones, progesterone cream, stuff like that for the ladies. Definitely watching the cleaning products that you're using. You want to make sure to use clean, natural soaps. African black soap's a good one. Yaqui's got some sea moss soap that he has. Definitely drinking plenty of things to hydrate the cells. That'll help as well. And I think that it looks like we wrapped everything up there. And I hope that this was great. And if anybody has any questions, you can put them in the comments or go check out my Instagram and TikTok. It's Ecstatic Technician, and you will see my Drip Collective logo that you'll see here on my YouTube, so that's how you'll find me. And my human name is Stephen Powell, so you can check that out, TikTok, Instagram. DM me if you got any questions, and then also I've got my tea company on there, and I need that to get rolling, so if you guys want to check that out, I'd appreciate it. And if not, I'm here to help in any way that I can. I've got a website on my Instagram you can go to and check out my PDFs and books and stuff to donate to go and help people and get the community back where it needs to be. So I've got plenty of these posters, so we'll definitely be touching on the nervous system next video. So I'm going to take this down real quick and just show you guys the back side of this to let you see what we'll be teaching on next. So you got the nervous system here. We'll touch on, lion's mane and the occipital lobe, and we'll talk about creativity and where it comes from. I found some really cool information out watching American Horror Story and did some research myself. And we'll talk about the spinal cord and things like that, creams and stuff you can use to help fix pain in the body and things internal and external. So that'll be the next video that we'll do. So if you guys, need anything from me, definitely reach out and I'm here to help. Shalom. Bataya. Take care.